You're now watching Haunt Talk with your host Scott from Exploring Attractions and Rob from The Howling Hour, home for all things scary and spooky related.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Haunt Talk podcast. My name is Scott from Exploring Attractions.
And I am Rob from the Howling Hour.
And welcome back to episode, I think it's like 25 or 24. We're rolling.
Yeah,
we're rolling on these episodes.
Yeah, we're in the mid-20s.
Mid-20s. That's
Yeah.
I quite literally am in the mid-20s because
we
turned,
don't have to talk about age.
I just turned 25, so quite literally.
That's right,
mid-20s.
you did. Happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday. But today's not about me or us. Today's about Kristol, who is our guest today. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Welcome on. Kristol, for those of you guys who don't know, is a Fright Fest actor, a Horror Nights actor, and she's not only tall in real life, but she's tall as an actor too.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming on. We look forward to picking your brain. I'm really interested to see the dynamic between Horror Nights and Fright Fest. But like what we do with every single actor, kind of tell us about your upbringing to haunt / just acting in general.
Okay, so I began my haunt career back in 2008 at Six Flags. I was already working there as a character, a Looney Tune character, and performing like the parade and stuff. And I really wanted to do Fright Fest because I had seen it. I worked during the days, and then I was leaving. I'd see everybody arriving and getting ready. I'm like, oh, that looks so cool. But because of my faith and everything and stuff, which I love and everything, I'm not bashing it. But I'm Catholic, and that was not something we really support, Halloween
trust me,
and
I had to
all
deal with
that.
that
And
too.
so basically,
Yeah, right. Yeah, same here.
I was like, it was oh, I really want to do it. It looks like so much fun. And my parents would be like, well, when you're 18, when you're an adult, you can make your own choices. And if you want to do it, you can do it. And I was like, okay. And I remember the year before I was 18, or actually, I think it was the year that I turned 18 because my birthday's in December. So that October, I had gotten off of work an hour early. And I didn't tell my parents. And so Fright Fest had started and everything, and I was gonna be leaving, and they were running behind to pick me up and everything. So I was like, oh, okay, let's see, what can I do? So the very first maze that I went through was Brutal Planet, back in when it had Gotham City and stuff, and absolutely fell in love with it. And I was like, I want to do this. And so then when I turned 18, I was like, for sure I'm doing it. So I started. Brutal Planet was actually the first maze that I was scare actor in. And so 2008, and then a couple years, I've been doing mazes like Lecter Slaughterhouse. And then I became a walk around. And the first zone that I was a walk around in was Zombie Crossing. Yeah, I love zombies, so that was the best. Did walk around for a while, and then wanted to do sliding and stuff, but at the time they weren't having female sliders and stuff for certain reasons. And then also my parents are like, no, you're gonna damage your knees. I'm like, but it looks so cool and everything. And then I saw stilts, and I was like, okay, this looks cool and everything. And so I talked to Mark Wing, who's totally awesome. And I was like, what do I need to do to become a stilt walker? And he's like, make sure you have good core strength, good leg strength, good balance and stuff. And I was like, for sure. And so I worked hard on all that, and then auditioned. And then 2018, I was a stilt walker and been a stilt walker ever since.
That's a great summary of your story there, with so much history.
I know, it was so
and
long.
yet it's perfectly summarized.
Yeah.
I like your callbacks to some of those OG Fright Fest mazes.
Yeah.
Rob may be more
Oh.
well versed than I am because he's been going a little bit longer than I am, but I've definitely seen walkthroughs of those in the past.
No, it's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Just you mentioned, just because I still am Christian, but I grew up in a Christian household. So my birthday is in October, so I could never do any. I could never do. Yeah, it was the worst. I could never do anything for my birthday. So I think I was 18 when I got my car, and Fright Fest was the first spooky haunted thing that I did. So yeah, it was that the Fright Fest. That's why I always, and you know, it's just, I've echoed, you know, throughout my haunt memories. It's 2002 is the first year I got to go to Fright Fest, and I never stopped going. Yeah.
So you saw the OG Heckles and Twitch.
So, but I loved it. I remember when they even had I think it was I don't know if they call them. Now they call them houses, but you know I don't know if it was a. It was in where that old like Sierra the log ride was, when they had like they had a maze in there, and there you go.
Warehouse 13.
So but I can understand the whole like, oh, you can't do it because this is our faith, and so it was just like, man, and then just being my birthday in October as well, it's like, oh, I couldn't do anything, but
and the struggle that's like, oh, you wanted to do it, but it's like,
I was, and my
You
mom
don't
was
want
like,
to be
wow.
disrespectful or anything.
Yeah.
It's just like,
So
but it's
it was-
my
it
passion
was-
already. I know it is.
Yeah, it was the same thing for me too. It was like my mom was like, well, when you're 18 you could do whatever you want, but right now, you know, I was like, all right, fine. So
You're like,
but
when
yeah,
I'm
good
18, I'm
times.
not going to go out and party with my friends. I'm going to go to this Halloween event and see all the gore.
That's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's different. It's like you think like, you know, 18, it's like, oh, I'm gonna do this stuff. It's like, no, I want to do haunt events and everything.
I guess that's what
So,
that's what
totally
makes like
different.
all of us in the haunt community a little bit sick and twisted.
Like we're
Yeah,
nice,
exactly.
So we can
You
get scary,
can flip it like a switch like that. And I guess that kind of goes into our next question is like, you know, we've talked to you before plenty of times and you're a very happy, jolly person.
Yeah.
So what are some like free warm-ups that you do to get in that spooky character?
Ooh. Pre-warm. Okay.
Yeah.
Energy drinks. As I have one right here. I have like my energy drink, and then I have like
I was
one
just
mushroom
telling
coffee.
Rob, I was
It's
like, he's like, oh, what you up to? I was like, well, I'm suffering from caffeine withdrawals right now because I have no energy. So
I'll
thanks,
send some to you.
I'll get
I'll
here in
send some
5 to
to
10 business days.
So pretty much I'd like show up, and then being a still walker, we do have to like stretch and everything. It's always good to stretch like in general, but if you're doing stuff like that, for sure get a good stretch, and then just like chat, and then like as you see like people and like start to get into their makeup, and you start to get in costume and everything and stuff, and you like see yourself, like you slowly feel like you're like you're morphing into that character and stuff. And sometimes like whenever I get my makeup and I'll get my wig, and then I'll go over to the mirror and everything outside on the side of makeup, and I'll like put it on and everything. And then I know it sounds kind of like weird and everything, but I'll like look at it and kind of like see the detail in the makeup, and the makeup's a huge inspiration into like getting into
Okay.
the zone and everything and getting into character. And I'll like look at it, and I'll like start to like think of my character, and then I'll start like making my sounds and everything and stuff, and it's just like taking a couple minutes just like looking at myself in the mirror and just like becoming that character. And then I run off
Go
and
do your
go,
thing.
like, yeah. And then also we line up behind the gate, and since the Stillwalkers were like the last group to come out, and so we get into formation and stuff, and then that's another time where I'm like in full makeup, full costume, on stilts and everything with my staff. And as we hear the music, that's another thing. Like the music adds like really, really good element. And so I'll kind of like be in my own zone, and I'll be like practicing, and I'll do like stretching and stuff, and like just get into my like arm movements and everything, and just like that's like the final getting into the zone of things, into the character. And they come out. Yep.
You mentioned just like stilt walking. I just want to ask. I can't remember the last, because I always see you. I mean, you're tall anyway, but I always just see you up there. When was the last time you were like just a regular walk around character? Was it like 2018 or before 2018, or do you kind of mix it? Sometimes stilt, sometimes just like on the floor.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That'd be fun to do, but we actually get to kind of experience that at Fright Fest when it's like if it's too windy, or if like the floor is wet,
Right,
or like
okay.
it's drizzling a little bit, but we're still able to be out there. Stilts get grounded. And so I remember during Fright Fest there were a couple of nights where like it was too windy, or like it was like had been rainy, and so the floor is like slick and stuff. So instead of just staying in the back and not getting to come out and everything, we get to come out, but we're grounded, so
Okay.
we're on the floor. And that's a lot of, I do enjoy it. It does kind of suck, like not being tall, because it's like part of it,
Right.
like
Yeah.
is taken away. But then being on the ground, you forget what it's like. You
Mhm.
forget what it's like. And I was just like, I forgot how
You
much
have
fun
so
this
much
is. This is
freedom.
like, and you get a lot more scares too. You get a lot more scares because since you're on the ground, and if it's like a crowded like night and everything, you can then hide behind guests and
Right.
like weave around and get way more
And
scares.
I think it's always so
And
like weird as a guest, like seeing that too, because there are plenty of nights where like just at all events where you see stilt walkers that are grounded, and you're like, wait a second, this
yeah.
looks a little bit strange, because it's still the same outfit and
Yeah.
everything, but just not on stilts.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the weird part because like yeah, like you're so used to like seeing us tall and it's like, oh wait, so you may be like, oh, where are they? And then we like pop out of nowhere and you're like, oh my God, there they are.
Do you have to like get into a different mindset when you're grounded, or is it like the same mindset, you're just not as tall?
It's the For me, I feel like it's kind of
Okay.
like the same mindset. Like the mindset I go through is I'm sad. It's like I start out sad because it's like I miss being tall, like all of that and everything, getting to wear the skirt and everything. And then I'll like think to myself and I was like, okay, like, it does feel a little weird when you're not as tall as you used to be and everything. So there's that part you got to get over. But then once you start getting those scares and everything, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. There was like one night where I was getting such
Nice.
good scares. I think it was like the last weekend or something. And I was getting such good scares. And then Deidre, who's awesome, she's like, okay, Kristol, time to go back up. I'm like, go,
Like,
go,
wait a
go,
second,
go,
I
go.
don't want to go
I'm having so
up.
much fun. Because then it's also easier to like kind of like follow guests quicker. Like we're not supposed to like run after them and everything, but kind of like, we'll
Yeah.
chase them a little bit and everything,
Yeah.
but safely. But yeah,
So
it's a
you
lot of
are
fun.
obviously stilt walker at Fright Fest all the time. You know, we've seen you at Midsummer Scream. You're one of the one of the faces of
Yeah.
Fright Fest for sure, because you're
Aw.
just out and about all the time. But you yourself and a lot of Fright Fest actors seem to kind of do part time at HHN as well. What is like? Do you guys get recruited for that, or is that just something that all of y'all are just like, all right, let's do it a couple nights?
So when I first started doing it, last year was my second year. So the year before that, my good friend Jill, who used to work at Six Flags and everything for Fright Fest, she then started working at Universal and then did their haunt events. And then she's like, I'm already employed by them and everything. And so I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then she's like, you should do it. And I was like, but like we have Fright Fest like Friday, Saturday,
Mm.
and Sunday and everything. And then they starting on
Right.
Wednesdays. And so I was like thinking, I was like, I wonder if like I could do Wednesdays and Thursdays there and then Friday, Saturday, and Sundays at Fright Fest. Cause like I want to devote most of my time to Fright Fest because that's like
Yeah.
my haunt home and everything and stuff. I'll never leave it. So I went, I auditioned. I was so nervous because I'm like, they're probably really, really, really strict and everything with like
Mm.
typecasting. And also it didn't help that I was the first one to go across the floor by myself as a crazy zombie.
You're like,
So
wait, I'm the rookie
that was
here.
fun. So, I know, I was like, what am I going first and everything and stuff. And so I ended up getting golden ticket, which I'm like, okay. And so I had the interview and she was like telling me, she's like, don't give him your full availability yet. Cause like once they hire you, they can't like fire you and everything and stuff.
Knew
I was
the way
like,
around it.
I was like, oh, I was like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing, but okay, I'll do what you say. And so I like told them and everything, and then I ended up getting casted, and I was like, no way. So I ended up. That's when I started doing like Wednesdays
Nice.
and Thursdays at Halloween Horror Nights, and I've done it 2 years already, and I'm gonna try to do it again this year, just because last year kind of kicked my butt.
I've
So
heard of the stage 12 talk. about that location. So
Last
yeah,
year? Last year, yeah.
I can
Yeah,
vouch for
yeah.
that without giving too much away.
Yeah. It was fun, but like I didn't really care because I'm like, it was such a cool
Yeah, yeah.
environment. The
There was the
stage 12
history
is
there.
so historical. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, there was a T-Rex in here. Like, oh my God. I'm just like visualizing a giant T-Rex and
Yeah.
everything. And I'm just like, it's fine. And I had a great blast, even though it kicked my butt and everything. And
So
so,
what has
but yeah.
because a lot of Fright Fest actors do the same. Has that just been something that like everyone's kind of just been like inspired by? Like, oh, let's just all do this now that everyone's doing it, or is that just something that like,
I kind of feel like it. I kind of feel like a lot more like after the first year that I had done more, there were a couple people also from
mhm,
Fright Fest who started doing it again. Last year was their first year and everything. And same response, they had the best. It was a little rough at first because like yeah, like beginning of haunt seasons for everybody, I feel like no matter where you're at, your body's like
Right.
acclimating to like all the physicality you're
mhm,
doing. And so I did tell them, I was like, yeah, it's like those are like 2 a.m. nights that we finish, and then we still have to go and get out of like makeup or costume or whatever you're in, and then still have to like clock out and everything. So sometimes, like, by the time you get home, like into bed, it's like 4 a.m.
yeah.
in the morning.
The
And
thing with
so,
HHN is
yeah, I'm
it's
like,
not a
over
hard
it.
stop like Fright Fest would be, or like a scary farm would be. They it's kind of similar to Disney. Once you're in line, it's like they don't cut you off, so
Yeah.
you can have like an hour and a half wait for a house, and it'd be 2 in the
Yeah.
morning, and you have to get through that damn
Mhm.
line.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. Yeah, it's like as a scare actor, depending where you're at, like definitely mazes. I think scare zones, like once it's two,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
done. I haven't been in a scare zone
yeah.
yet. But the mazes, we're there till yeah, depending on what cast you are, because they do cast A,
Hmm.
cast B. If you're cast A, you start your shift before cast B, but then once the night's over and your shift is done and you're cast A, you can get
Yeah.
out of
Nice.
there. And cast B has to like finish up the line and everything. So that's it's always good to be Class A.
There's always benefits.
Yeah, for sure.
Just back to just HHN, and I don't know. I mean, are you allowed to talk about like just what house you were in this year, or I don't.
I think so. Yeah, I think
Okay.
since it's past like because they're very
Yeah,
like
yeah.
kind of
I know
secretive
beforehand.
and
Yeah.
everything
So
with like
I'm
if
just
it's
curious.
name. Yeah.
Compared to in your opinion, compared obviously to Fright Fest, HHN, as far as house wise, and in if you could talk a little bit about your just experience at HHN and what you did there last year.
Okay, last year. Okay, so last year I was so happy because unlike the first year where I got put into pool because of my availability, I actually got to stay in the same house every single night that I
Cool.
worked
Very cool.
HHN. So that part was awesome because you get to know your fellow Mazians and
Your
everything
fellow
and develop a
Mazians.
friendship and stuff. And it's a lot of fun. Okay, let's see. So basically, like, I would get there. You don't clock in on a phone like Six Flags. That's
Okay.
the other thing that's really interesting. You basically show up, you get in line, and then you have your like maze supervisors. They're there at the table, and they like mark you in and stuff. And so then once you get that, you get your little paper that has like your the maze that you're in, your character and number, and then it has like based on like what pieces of
Mm-hmm.
items you have. You basically go, you take the paper, you go over to like the little wardrobe area and you hand it to them. They get the stuff for you and I think they wash it every night, so it's nice. You have fresh
Nice.
clean costume, which is nice because especially if you sweat a lot, it's that's the different thing than what Six Flags does. So yeah, you get that, you check it out, you go, you change into it, or the cool thing is you can actually get to your location and then change in the
Nice.
bathrooms there, which is awesome. And so, but if you have makeup or like wig, you go to the makeup section and they do all that. They do all that for you and they put the wig on for you and it's like, oh, it is so nice. So, sorry, I'm losing track. And so then you go and then you wait for the tram or like the little bus to come get you, and the bus will drive you to your location. You get to your area. Being cast day is nice because you can get there, set up your stuff and everything, chill. And then basically they're like, okay, at this time, we're gonna have a little like maze meeting and everything, go over some things, and let you know how many people are gonna be
Okay.
here and stuff. Like there were some nights where it's like 22K or
Yeah.
something. I don't know. It was interesting. So I might have been off on that number, but basically they tell you like how many people they're like estimating and stuff, and they go over some notes, and then they did like a little compliment thing where they're like, oh, these people like said these things and stuff, and they give out like
Oh, that's
little
cool.
words and stuff, which is
It's like
cool,
a little
like
pep
kind of
talk
boost
before.
morale. Which is it's always nice and everything, and we joke and we laugh. And then they're like, as long as you're like at your area, like which part of the maze you're supposed to be at, like you have to be there at that time. And then if you have a mask, like I had a mask because I was a she wolf and it was so much fun. But yeah, so you go get that, and then they actually have like a crew there that helps you with the masks and the gloves and everything if you need it. Like if your mask gets like damaged, they like have the tools to fix it there. So then you don't have to go all the way back to like wardrobe or whatever. You can just
Right.
like get it fixed there,
That's cool.
which is really, really nice. And then they say to be like in spots like a couple minutes before they open the maze. And so you get there, and then it's cool because they also have like each of the pop out zones have a trigger, and then you also have a little like screen where you can actually see the people
That's
out there
cool.
coming. And they usually try to do it like ahead of time to be like, okay, that person's gonna come. And then in your mind, you can like kind of time it to where they get to a certain spot and then like pop out and get them. And then also, they have a green button, which is like, say you pop out and like someone like swings at you or
Mm,
like touches you or something or does something inappropriate, you can pop back in and you can like hit that button. And they said they're like, once you hit that button, it goes back and it starts recording like a couple minutes before you pop that
That's
button
interesting.
crazy.
and everything. And then they have security, and they're like, yeah, when that button hits and everything, like we'll notify security or whatever. And then security comes so they can catch those people and like take care of them, which I'm like, I'm not used to
Yeah,
that.
that is
I'm not used to this kind of
yeah.
treatment. This is
I
nice
knew
treatment and
I knew the
everything
panic
and
button
stuff.
essentially. I didn't know it recorded the last 2 minutes, which is pretty
Yeah, I
freaking
didn't know
cool.
that either
It's
and
smart.
everything
Yeah.
and stuff. So then that way, like, if something happens and it gets like, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't say
I'm like,
that.
wait a
It'd be like,
second.
it's
Huh?
recording right here, baby.
I have that
We
right
got it right here.
here.
Isn't that you? So that's nice. I never had to push button or anything because luckily the spots that I jumped out had some
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
distance kind of between the guests.
I was gonna say you're pretty far
Um,
away, not far away from guests, but like you had that
Yeah.
barrier.
Yeah, I was like the wood spot had the most, and then the second one I was in the dungeon, and so I like popped out of the door and everything, and I just go back in, and that's nice too because it's like once you get back there, you can actually like take some time to like catch your breath or something and everything, and they have a fan there
Nice.
too. So, because in the mazes, when it gets hot and everything, those fans are lifesavers. So, like, sometimes you just like lift up your mask a little bit and you're just like,
Like this feels
this feels
good.
good. Okay, back to scaring. Back to
Yeah.
scaring. And then so that's with all of that. And then what was else? I just thought of it and then it just like completely escaped my mind. Oh, and then so another thing, since we don't really wear like watches and stuff, like with Six Flags, you can like wear a watch and everything and stuff to keep track of your time and everything and stuff. With HHN, they don't really have a strict no phone policy, unlike Six Flags and everything. And the cool thing is, like, you can go to your like little hideout and you can actually like put a timer on your phone and you can actually have it there and you can actually see it counting down. So then that way you know, like, okay, like I have 5 more minutes of my
Nice.
set and everything, and just like go out. And then also you have the cast B person who comes and like taps you on the shoulder and like you switch out and everything and
Yeah.
stuff. So I'm like, that's really, really cool. Like, and it's also nice that they let us have the phone too, because sometimes the other cast won't be there. Like last year
And you're like,
was
so someone
Where
can
are
relieve
you?
me.
dude, last year, oh my gosh, like I'd never experienced this before, but I'm a very nice person.
Yeah.
But and I don't really like to complain because then I feel really bad because I feel like I'm like, like I don't want to be mean or anything.
Yeah.
But last year, like I don't know what it was, but my cast B person, like when it was like be 2 minutes and she had to get the mask on and the gloves on and everything, it would be like 2 minutes before the set is finished. And she'd come and she'd put her phone and then she'd go to get the stuff. And they would always tell us, like, make sure, like, give yourself like 10 minutes to get your stuff on and everything and be there on time to relieve the other person because they've been like doing 30-minute sets or whatever. And so it got to the point where I was just like, I don't mean to be a bother and
Uh-huh.
everything, but the other person didn't arrive and I went 10 minutes over my I did
And
like
this
a
has
full
happened
10
multiple
minutes
times.
before she arrived. It was like 10 minutes and everything and stuff. And so they're like, "Oh no, like when your set's done, your set's done. You can go." I'm
Yeah.
like, "But no one's there." And they're like, "It's okay. We
Yeah,
care more
and
about you."
that's the thing that we were talking to Tiffany about this, who was also in that house. Like sometimes when people quit or just people aren't there, they're fine with leaving spaces empty. So a lot of times you miss
Yeah.
the scares.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, it's better for
Mhm.
the actors because you shouldn't be held to a standard if someone else
Right,
isn't meeting
right.
that standard.
Yeah, I just feel so bad because, like, in my mind, I'm like, these guests, especially after what happened, I think the year before,
Oh
with all
yeah.
the waiting and everything, and how guests did that and
Oh yeah,
everything.
the year before was ridiculous.
Yeah, I was just like, I heard about that, and I was like, dude, that would suck. So in my mind, I'm like, if I were a guest and like I paid a lot of money, I waited for like an hour or whatever to go through this maze. I go through a room where I know there's going to be a scare actor coming out to like pop out and entertain me,
Hmm.
and they're not there. I'd be kind of upset. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I waited this long for this. So that's why in the beginning I would just like, stay till she arrived, even if I went over my set. But
Uh-huh.
then I was like, I explained that to the supervisors and they're like, no, no, no. I was like, but I feel really bad. And they're like, no, 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 we care more about
That's
you.
awesome to
Yeah.
hear,
Like,
though. Yeah.
they'll get over it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, but they're really cool and they really like, they care about you and everything and stuff and they bring snacks and everything and the cool thing is I found out the year before I was like on set and I was like doing my scare thing and I got a splinter. I got a teeny little splinter in my finger. And that night I was working with my friend. We were in the same area and I was like, oh, and it was like bleeding a little bit and everything. And I was just like, oh, it's okay. And she's like, no, 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 because it was my first year, so I was like kind of like learning the ropes and everything. And
Yeah.
they're like, no, no, no. She's like, no, come here, come on. And so she took me over. She's like, so Krista was doing this, and she got a little splinter, but she didn't want to say anything. And they're like, okay. And they like radioed first aid, and first aid came, and they cleaned it, and they bandaged it, and they're like, oh, so when did this happen? Like, blah blah blah. And I like told them, they're like, okay, you're good to go. I'm like, okay,
You're like not to
cool.
be mean, but it hurts
I'm
a little
like,
bit.
It
yeah, I'm like,
it
camper,
kind
don't
of
come to me.
stings.
Have to go to therapy. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. I think I lost my phone.
Yeah, I don't think this haunt life's for me now.
Just fire that banister that gave me a
Yeah,
splinter.
exactly.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah,
Right.
pretty much. And then that's just like typical. And then the cool thing is you did 30-minute sets and
Uh-huh.
then get like a 30-minute
Okay.
break. And I was like, okay, cool. And then if it gets hotter, your set times go down and then your breaks get longer. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. And but yeah, I'm trying to think of other things and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much like during the shift. And then once you're done, cast A like goes up to the van, they transport you back, you turn in all your stuff. If you do have makeup, they actually depending on what it is, they will take it off for you, which is awesome. There was one time, I think it was like the year before, and I had full face makeup and a wig in one of the mazes, the Evil Dead and everything. I was the Deadite mom.
Okay.
That was the best because you're like at the location, and then once you're finished, they're like, okay, go to makeup. And then you go to makeup, you sit there, they take off your wig and everything, and then they actually take off all the makeup for you. And then they wrapped your face in like a lavender
Nice.
hot towel, and I'm like, oh my
I
God.
was gonna say that must feel
I'm at a
like super
spa.
soothing.
Like a day at the
Yeah.
like a day at the
I know, and
spa.
I was
Yeah,
like,
a day at the
can I
spa
be
right
here?
Even
And I
there.
just
still got to
having
do that one
someone
like
remove your
exciting.
makeup, I feel like would be like super comfortable. Like, oh wow, this is
It
relaxing.
was. That was the
Yeah.
hard part because then like you're relaxed and you have the lavender and you're like, I have to drive home
And
now.
then you have to drive home.
I have an hour drive. Ugh.
That's funny.
So that's pretty much it and everything and stuff. And then same, you go, you get your paper,
Hmm.
and then after you turn all your stuff, and then you give it to your supervisors, and then they write down the time, and then you
Okay.
sign, you like initial, and then that's pretty like much like your clock out or whatever.
It's a
Okay.
well-run ship that has been talked
Yeah.
about by many
Oh yeah, for
people.
sure.
It's like, as much as sometimes HHN can get a bad rep for the quality of their years and stuff like that,
Mhm.
they take care of their actors, and it's really cool to see that because,
Mhm.
I mean, not nowhere that I've heard. Well, I don't want to say nowhere. As far as big scale events in California, nowhere have I heard that they like treat their actors like complete crap. Yeah, there's stuff that they can improve on,
Yeah.
but sometimes you hear these horror stories in like the middle of the country of these different haunt events that's like terrible working conditions. And it's like, oh man, that sucks. So it's nice when you
Yeah.
have companies who take care
Hmm.
of you, you know?
Yeah. They care about
Yeah.
their employees.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
And,
sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, we as guests go in, but at the end of the day, without you guys, there's nothing for us to go see. So the fact that they are taking care of you at that high of a level, I mean, it makes me happy. Like Scott's saying, everyone can improve, but the fact that they're doing all these things for you guys to make sure you're taken care of, it just shows that they care about you guys and they want. As much as they want us to have a good time, they want you to have a good experience
Yeah,
working
it's
for
more
them.
than
So
just like,
that's an awesome
them
thing to hear.
making money, which they love. It's like we have to take care of you
Yeah.
guys because without you guys, yeah, it's like we got nothing.
I want to ask you something. Just going back into you mentioned like you can see your monitor, or you can see people before you come and the timing. My question for you is: do you see people that coming in, and do you go a little extra harder when you see people you
No, I tend when I
recognize?
see people I recognize, I ignore it. No, I'm kidding.
you're like, why are they visiting me?
I was like, oh,
What's
not
wrong
again.
with them?
Like a really good example would be my friend Anne. I remember she was like texting me and she's like, send me your schedule, send me your schedule and everything. And I was like, okay. And I like send it to her. And so she said, she's like, we're literally like, she's like, how many more minutes do you have on your break? And I was like, oh, 5 minutes. She's like, good. We're waiting right at the entrance and we're letting people go through so we can go through when you're there. And I was like, oh. And so I think it was that night I was in the woods and stuff. And so the screen, it isn't colored. It's like kind of like night vision.
Hmm.
And so
Okay,
I'm
yeah,
like, I'm not gonna be able to tell, like, if she's like, oh, I'm wearing like this kind of t-shirt and everything. And I'm like, "Pff, I'm not gonna be able to tell. I'm like, I told her, I was like, when you come through, like, wave your hands and
Yeah.
everything. Like, don't call out my name because that's something that they don't want our like friends doing or people that we
Yeah.
know because that kind
At
of
like
like
any event, you shouldn't be using someone's real name.
yeah, like, or just like
yeah.
she wolf, just call that out or whatever, not a name. And so I told her, I was like, don't say anything because it's loud. I won't hear that. Just like wave your hands over your head. And so I'm like watching and I'm like scared. I'm like watching, I'm scared. And then I'm like watching and I see this girl come in and she's like, I was like, oh, there she is. And then I popped out. And yeah, if I do see someone and everything that I recognize on the screen and stuff, I will go a little more out for them and everything. Just, just to look good because usually they're like recording and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I got to be super, super, super like energetic. A lot of the times, sometimes people go through and I'll come out and everything and stuff. But I won't see them because like when
Yeah.
you pop out, it's all just a blur
Yeah,
and
those
everything
masks
because I
have
got the
really
mask.
tiny like eyelids.
Yeah, so but luckily this mask was the best mask that I've worn most of the times that I was working HHN. Because a lot of the times, like last year, being in pool is fun because you
Hmm.
get to do other things. But the masks, like depending on what character you have, like there would be some nights where like the mask would be so tight that my nose was like pushed up. I had like a hood. And it was so bad to where when I took off the mask, it felt like my nose was bleeding. but it wasn't. But it was just
Yeah. It
that I
just
had
felt
been
like
and
that.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
but if I see people on like the screen or whatever, or if I like pop out and then I like kind of like notice somebody, I'll like go like "Eh," a
So
little.
with that, I think that you're trained for Grinchmas now. If you wanted to work.
I know that'd be so much fun.
Sounds like
It
it.
was so
Sounds
like
like it.
sad because by the time I got the email and everything, because we get like
uh,
email notifications for auditions,
yeah.
um, that that night or like that day I was working HHN, I like saw the email and everything, and I was just like, well, I missed the deadline and everything. But I'm like, Christmas would be so much fun and everything. But then there's also HIP,
Yeah.
which I was
I
like,
think that would I think Grinchmas would be good for you with your like super happy, jolly
mhm.
personality, you know, because
I would
those
love to make
Who's
it
are
like
like,
full time and stuff, but it's
yeah,
like, it's at the moment, it's like really, really hard.
those Who's are like they're on some energy kick all day
Right?
long.
Like, how many Red Bulls do you have?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like how many like you guys just shotgunning Red Bulls in the back.
Right? They just have like a camel pack with like Red Bull or something or energy drinks. I was like, dude, that's possible. Like, people drink water. Why not energy drinks?
I'm interested to see going back to Fright Fest and to spend some time on horror nights. You still walking and everything. Obviously, you run into a lot of positives, but there's also the negatives too. Has anyone ever tried to like knock you off your stilts purposely?
No, not purposely that I saw. I think last year, the only like time that I think it ever happened was I kind of felt like a little tug on my pants, on my pants and everything. But then I think when I looked down, it was like a kid. And I think they were just trying to get
No,
my
no, it was
attention or
me.
something,
Yeah,
or like,
that was
It
Rob
was
for
me.
sure.
I was trying to
oh,
get your attention. I was like, hey, down
I
here.
was like, and in my
Rob's
mind, I'm
already
just
short
like,
enough.
in my mind, I'm just like, woo, and the okay, hi.
It's a little kid just like hi.
Nice. I'm like in my creepy screech voice and everything, and I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm nice. I swear to God, I'm not mean to kids.
Let me get on your level real quick.
Let me slow down.
Yeah. Yeah, I always find that
Go ahead.
interesting because I mean I don't think I mean there are some crazy people out there, but I don't think I've ever seen a situation where people are like, I have seen at horror nights before, and then I felt bad immediately for recording it, so I just
Uh-huh.
didn't ever put it out. But I was just recording the zone and everything like that,
Yeah.
and there was a water spill on the floor, and usually Universal's pretty good at like cleaning that shit up right away.
Yeah.
But literally this character did a hard turn and they slipped and like completely fell down. And I was recording and I was like, oh my God, I just caught that on camera. But like, I'm not going to post that, number one, because that's for the actor's safety. And number two, just like be a decent human being and don't post
Yeah.
that. But I was like, that looks scary. That looked genuine, falling from that high. And then it wasn't even like everybody had to like help them up too. It was scary. So I can imagine sometimes it's scary being on those stilts, and there's a reason why they ground people when it's windy and it's raining.
Yeah. Windy or rainy or if the floor is wet. And then also I found out if there's like, I think they said if there's like a thunderstorm, even if it's like a couple miles away, because they're like lightning can travel and everything and stuff. And so I was like,
Right.
oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even think about that and stuff.
Yeah.
But with Six Flags, just because Six Flags is the only place that I've done stilts and everything so far, they're very good at like monitoring like the wind, the rain, like say you're in your zone and everything and you're like kind of like are a little concerned, you're like feels pretty breezy and everything and stuff. And so they're like ask your escort or whatever. They can radio base and then base will check like the weather and everything and they'll let you know. And then usually if we decide to ground the stilts or whatever, we will like let like your escort area like know for sure and we're gonna get you down
Okay.
because it's about
You're like lightning travels because I am the lightning.
like,
I will ride
like
the
I'm afraid
lightning.
no lightning.
You see me in these damn stilts?
Bring it
I can
on,
take the
bring it
lightning out
on.
myself.
Like it's far away. It's not gonna get that far.
Exactly. It's like I am the closest to get struck by it, but it's okay. You know, speaking of, I'm going to cut you off one more time, Rob. Speaking
all right,
of,
go ahead. I'm
I
used to
want
it.
to
Go
throw this
ahead.
random question out there.
Do it.
That just popped in my mind. When you're working at Midsummer and stuff on stilts, is it like strange to see like the freaking show floor like from up above? Like you just see all these
It's
vendors, like you see the top of them essentially.
It's cool. Yeah, you see a lot of like we can see basically like depending on how like tall like each booth is and everything. Sometimes we can see like all the way over to the other wall and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting and it's like really cool. And then you also feel like even taller when you're like walking by and like it like comes up to like your waist. You're like, I feel really gigantic right now.
Yeah, you're
This is
like,
so
can I get
cool.
that one up there actually?
This is so cool. And then yeah, and then like when you're like looking around, you're like seeing all these vendors and
Uh-huh.
like as last year I'd be like in character and doing stuff, but in my head I'm like, oh, I need to check that place out. Like that'd be like because I think we would spend breaks like in the back, but then lunch we were
Mhm.
able to go out and like get food and everything and stuff and like walk around. That'd
Yeah.
be nice. Could be like, okay, I'm gonna hit up that spot. I'm gonna hit up that spot. I'm gonna hit up that spot. So kind of
In
like
makeup too,
plan.
because I saw you one time grounded walking around
Mhm.
and you were in makeup, and I was like, what the? It's so strange.
Yeah, it is strange, especially when like guests or like people have already seen you like in full makeup, like super duper tall and
Right,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, "Whoa, that's so cool!" And then in my mind, I'm like, whenever we're grand, I was like, I feel like the magic's been broken. Like
Yeah.
I
You
see
have
it's
this
like,
random
oh, they're
like
just like regular average people and everything and stuff. And it's like, but when you're tall, you feel like you're like another like character, like
You're a
mystical
you
mystical
got this
creature.
general public person, and they're like, oh my god,
Oh,
this is fake.
yeah, it's like the
It's
magic's
like if
been
you see
broken. I thought you're really
yeah.
that tall.
If you see Mickey walking around Disney with just the head on and like
Right?
the freaking Under Armour suit
Yeah, it's
underneath.
like this. I'm not looking. No.
It's not real.
That's funny.
um, oh, that's what I was gonna ask you before Scott interrupted me like
Yeah,
20
that's
times. When you're still walking, I bring this up just because I saw, and please forgive me, I mispronounce her name all the time. Is it Heidi or
Crybaby?
how do you say her
No,
name?
my name's not. No, Haiti. That's
No,
not.
no,
My name's not
Haiti. There you go, Haiti.
Oh,
No. I
oh,
mispronounce her name all the time. But I just saw.
yeah,
I just saw her video about like her doing the
yeah.
stilts and stuff like that. So what's your like regimen as far as before you get on the stilts and then once you get on the stilts, what's your like how your stretching routine? Like what's the process for you to get ready to do that for the hours that you do it?
So, pretty much like in the beginning, I'll get there and stuff, and I'll like put my stuff down and everything. And then pretty much I'll like go out onto the pavement and I'll like sit and I'll like start in like a butterfly position and like stretch and like start opening my
Okay.
hips up and then like stretch out my legs and like lean over. And I'll do like a lot of different ground stretches where I'm stretching over just to like loosen the hips and like the leg muscles. And then I'll like stand up and I'll like do the leaning over ones where you go like side to side and stuff. Just a lot of them is
Okay.
mostly just like from like the waist down and stuff because that's a
Hmm.
lot of the stuff that's doing a lot of the work and everything. So I'll do like a bunch of different like leg variation stretches, pull stand and like hold the leg up and everything and stuff. And then also when I do that one and everything, where I'm like standing and holding my leg back there, I'll kind of like stand up, but then I'll also like put out my arm and then I'll like lean forward and then I'll also like be stretching as I'm like working on my balancing and stuff and do all
Okay.
that. And then the only time I ever do like upper body stretches is like when I'm about to go out is when I do a lot of the arm leaning over and the stretching and all that and
Okay.
everything. So, but yeah.
What I would say what are like a couple of tips or some advice you could give to someone who hasn't actually stepped on any stilts yet and but wants to. They see something like what you do or other stilt walkers do and they want to start it. They just don't know where. What's some advice you
Some
could give
advice,
them?
some really good advice. is what we give a lot of our other like newbie still people who are interested in everything. It's like just go for it. Like never hurts to try. If you don't have your own pair of stilts and everything, you can always like reach out to like me or like Lupe or somebody who has a pair of stilts, and we will actually like set up a time and a date where we can like meet up at the park. And since I have my own stilts and like she has her own stilts and like say they have their own
Okay.
stilts or they bought stilts to try to like learn, we're like, yeah, let's all meet up, have a stilt day. We'll go over the stilts and everything and the basics and we'll get you up and everything. Cause a lot of the times, I think the biggest part is what's happened to me and everything. But the first time you go up on stilts and everything, like it's fun standing up, but then like you've never been that high off the ground before, your mind starts to be like, oh my gosh, I am so tall, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna fall and everything. And then like it's like I legit was like the first time I was doing it, I was like standing and then I like was like looking down and I was like, I'm gonna go over. And they're like, no, no, just like, stand up, stand straight.
And then your body starts to shake, and you're
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah, and so I think that's the biggest part when you first start doing stilts and everything. And if you're new to stilts, is just like getting over
Okay.
it in your mind because your mind is the one thing that will like try to be like, oh my gosh, you're gonna fall. Oh my gosh, this and everything. It's like, nah. But yeah, and then but yeah, just reach out to somebody who has like a pair of stilts and everything, and they'll be more than happy to like meet up with you. Take it really, really slow and everything, get you used to it, get you comfortable and everything. Because with Six Flags and everything, yes, it's 2 days and everything for long periods of time, but it's more
Mhm.
quicker there and everything. They'll get you up and you'll
Okay.
start moving and they'll be like, okay, let's start walking. And you may not feel that comfortable. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely try to like on your own time, like try.
You want your practice
Yeah.
before you try
Yeah.
to step into it
That's
and
yeah,
like
that's what
hump
I
rope.
did. I
Right.
like bought stilts and then for like 4 months before like Fright Fest or auditions or whatever, I was in my parents' kitchen just going back and forth, holding up the cupboards until I felt comfortable and then I like moved to the outside and got comfortable and everything and stuff. But yeah, just do it on your own, go at your own pace and stuff and yeah.
And a lot of people have
Awesome.
like different tricks and stuff that they can do on stilts. So do you have the ability to run? Have you mastered running?
No, because they always tell us that drywall stilts are not made for running. Now if it was Bigfoot's, totally, I think I tried jumping stilts one time and I pretty much almost
Uh,
was running and that was a lot of fun because they're built for like speed and everything. I
okay.
will say
Okay.
though, this past last year, we did receive some new stilts at Six Flags and they're kind of like
Mm,
baby Bigfoots because the Bigfoots have the toe part that moves. These ones had a
okay.
spring,
Okay.
so the toe was more movable, and I was able to do like
Oh,
way more stuff and actually
Nice.
almost kind of run, but not full on like sprinting and stuff.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think last year was probably the best year on stilts for me just because with that spring in that toe, because without it, you're very flat and it's like this. But then with the spring, it's
Mhm.
more like, ooh, can move through. Felt like I was moving and
Okay.
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So
Would you ever consider doing something like Horror Nights, like Scares on One? Those stilts, because those stilts are running, they're going
I've
crazy.
seen some and they look so
Yeah.
cool and everything. And I have some friends who are still walkers in the area, the Wise brothers. And
Uh,
everything. I love them so
Yeah.
much and everything. I miss them at Fright Fest, but it's awesome. I got to see them at HHN.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it would be so much fun. It would just be like learning to get used to the Bigfoots because I have heard they're a
Yeah.
little heavier than drywalls and everything because they're more sturdier and well built. I do have a little more confidence though now because the drywalls with the springs that I used last year and everything
The baby
were
Bigfoots.
kind of like baby Bigfoots and everything. So I was like, okay, I think I do better and everything and stuff. And so I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a go this year and audition and stuff. And like, well, that's the other cool thing about HHN is like once you audition, um, you don't have to audition. You just show up for like, measurements
Yeah.
and stuff, but then you still have to wait and see if they actually cast you. But
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think I would go for auditioning on stilts and stuff because I'm like, that looks so much fun. And yeah, and that one character I saw that one year that in zone one that had the long dark
Mhm.
hair and the long white like outfit that was literally
Oh, I
running
think it
on
was
all fours.
it was like the
Oh, like
shadows and demons from like the east or something like
yeah,
that.
I was just like, I
Uh,
saw them like booking it down. I'm like, what?
yeah.
That looks like so
And
much fun and so cool.
they were doing they were like the four-legged
Mhm.
stilt walker too, I
Yeah.
think, which was nuts.
Yeah, they were like so cool and creepy, and then just like when they like did the running on all fours and everything, the gorilla,
Yeah, that is very creepy.
I was like,
Yeah.
what? What did I just
Yeah.
see?
And then I mean, there's obviously like the difficulty of like controlling your
Yeah.
hands too, but like then you also have more, I would assume, more balance because you can control you holding yourself up too.
And you're
you
more
know?
like sturdy too because you have like four and everything. The only thing was like the
Yeah.
only thing that I was also thinking about in like the zones and stuff, especially zone one, is the amount of people there. Like I
Mm-hmm.
see videos where like it's the opening ceremony and it's like packed, and then the walkers
Yeah.
Yeah.
legit run into the crowds. And in my mind, that I think I would have to get over would be just like, what if I like run into somebody? What if I step into
Yeah.
somebody and everything and stuff? I'm like.
And I think the nice thing now is because they used to do ceremony like right when park opened, so everyone was just
Yeah.
freaking like it was nuts. People were getting injured. I got freaking trampled. Well, I didn't get trampled, but like if I
Nuts.
didn't get up, I would have got freaking trampled. And this is like a little 16-year-old Scott, you know.
Little
And
baby Scott.
yeah, and nowadays they do it like every like I think 45 minutes, so it's a lot more
Okay.
controlled, but
Yeah.
it is like still like you have a crowd of people running
Yeah.
at you, and you're however many feet
You're
above
going
the
into
crowd.
battle, legit. You're going into battle.
Yeah, yeah, and like literally anyone could accidentally run right into your freaking middle stilts.
But I feel like
Yeah.
it'd probably be like if that were to happen, you have a better chance with like Bigfoots of like not falling because they're more sturdy and more heavy and everything.
Right. If anything, it's gonna hurt the person more
Yeah.
than you.
And they're gonna be like, oh my gosh, they ran into me. It's like, you
And you're
way.
like, actually, there's a camera right there, and there's a
Like,
camera
why
right
are you staying there?
there.
You should have moved to the side. You saw them coming.
That's funny.
What I guess one thing. I mean, this might be a tough question for you to ask, but I'm just curious. I feel like I've seen you play, or you've had versions of different characters, whether it be at HHN, but I'm more specifically with Fright Fest. I've seen you variations. Do you have like a favorite character
fun.
that you played, and also like was there different mindsets or different traits you wanted to like separate each character with?
Hold on. My cat might jump up on my chair, just let you know.
We've had cats, we've had
Okay.
dogs, they've all been stars
Yes.
Okay.
somewhere.
That's a really hard question.
Yeah, I know.
I think
I
the
know.
character.
Yeah, Rob only asks the hard questions.
The heavy hitters.
This is
over
a heavy
here.
hitter. Because they all mean so much to me. So the character that I've been the most is the Queen of Hearts, and getting
Right.
to like be her and develop her and everything, create like my own style with her and everything has been really, really awesome and everything, and I love it so
Hmm.
much. And I'm just trying to think. And then um I'm trying to think. This is hard because I was like some sort of toxic, I think it was like a toxic worker demon, like my first year in the Brutal Planet. That was fun. Um,
What was your character in specific during Screen Break? Like the Countess? I think she was
Countess.
called?
The Duchess,
Countess
right?
Uvesa.
There you go,
So,
Countess.
So yeah,
There you
the
go.
first year we had
Yes.
Screen Break, I was just wearing the Queen of Hearts outfit, but I had like the vampire brow piece and everything. And then I was like, you know what? During HIP, during the happy jolly time, I was thinking about Screen Break, and I was like, I had this really cool idea. I love Victorian, like the Victorian era and stuff. And I was like going through and I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is really cool and everything. And then soon, like, I started to develop her. And then I talked with Mark and everything about it. And he's like, send me your ideas. And so I sent my ideas and stuff, and it got approved, and it was so much fun. And that outfit, I think getting to put her together and everything and like brainstorm with like Mark and everything was a lot of fun, and then also gave me like I created something. Oh, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
you have
cool.
And I was
ownership
so
of it.
Yeah.
sad I don't get to be here this year and everything, and I was looking forward to it and stuff. But I think probably with Fright Fest, it's really hard to because I was thinking about my character or the character Screech that I have created and everything started when I was a
Yeah.
demon in Demon Store, and that
Yeah.
was a
Okay.
fun character. Being a zombie, I think that was probably the funnest character that I've enjoyed being is a walk around
Yeah.
zombie in
I can
Zombie
imagine.
Crossing. And that prosthetic I think I had the same prosthetic for the years that I worked it, was legit. It was
Mhm.
forehead to like here, and it was like a full face, and it was just like a torn, ripped up zombie face. And my makeup artist Dave, who sadly doesn't do Fright Fest anymore, he spent so much time and made me look just like gnarly as hell, and got to mess with my hair and everything and stuff. And it was just like, I love being anything like involving zombies and stuff. So I'm gonna have to say like the zombie from Zombie Crossing was my favorite.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay.
that's. I feel like that's where, just from what you're describing, that's where you look the most like
Because then also like
scary,
moving
essentially.
like the zombie and twitching and everything, and like I love zombie movies and stuff. And
Yeah.
like I had seen, I think it was around when World War Z came out, that movie, and
Hmm.
that little like
Okay.
tripping like sound they make and everything, that like screeching sound and
Yeah.
stuff. Like I developed that into that character, and it scared the hell out of people and stuff. And it was just like, oh, it was the best.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
that that voice, the screech. It's you could hear it.
Yeah,
That's
and
when I
that
developed
makes it
the
easy
voice,
too,
the
because that's
sound that I do now and everything and stuff. That, and then also a little mixture of a Demogorgon from Stranger Things that I've heard guests say I sound like. They're like, oh, she sounds like the Demogorgon. I'm like,
you're like, I guess, yeah.
I love it.
You're like, well, now you can be like, well, yeah, because there's some A's
Right?
here.
I'm
That's
like, oh,
Stranger
it'd be
Things.
perfect. And then also, I do
Uh,
like a clicking sound when I watch The Last of Us and everything and stuff. And I was just like, I'm gonna incorporate that too. So there's a
yeah,
lot of elements out
the
there that I've
clicking is
like incorporated.
terrifying, like
Oh
in
yeah.
Last of Us. It's terrifying. But I mean, I feel like the zombie was kind of like a perfect role for your early years too. It helps you be scary. Now your characters are like
I'm
a lot
very
more elegant
classy.
and like
I'm very
beautiful.
nice and
Yeah,
classy, but I can also
Yes.
be scary at times.
yeah. Like you can turn on that like elegant like and then just
Hmm.
like screech in someone's
Yeah.
face. Um, I that's the nice diversity of different haunt actors
Yes.
in general. But what's like a dream character that well, maybe you don't want to give it away, but what's a dream character that you want to bring to life?
That's really hard. These are all hard questions. Uh, um,
Hey, we start easy and then we get to the hard ones.
Yeah.
oh, man. Let's see. A character that I would love to bring to life, like from
It could be anything. You could say Horror Nights, Scary Farm, Fright Fest, literally anything.
hmm, it's really hard. Last year I was sad because I didn't get to go to any haunt events except for HHN and Fright Fest.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think it'd be trying to think because there would be other characters that I'd see and I was like, that would be a fun character to be. Uh, they had um they had from the Insidious maze.
Okay.
Hmm.
The I think it was like Insidious Chapter 2, the mom and everything, because she's
Oh, okay.
tall and
Okay.
like I'm
Yeah,
tall
yeah.
and everything and stuff. And like she doesn't have like a lot of gory makeup and everything. It's very like clean, very elegant and everything.
She's like the really
Yeah.
pale one who's like
Like, that is
making
not
the
your name.
the kid.
Ah!
Yeah, yeah,
And then
exactly. Yeah,
she's like,
that
and
one.
then you like in the movie and everything, you like see her, she's like, oh, she's like being so nice and everything, and then just like switching
Yeah.
and just be like it's the switching part for me.
Yeah.
Touching for
Yeah,
me.
I do think
But
that's
yeah,
cool.
and then just like being able to be her and like just like walk around and be like nice, and then just like on instant like snap at people and like yell at them and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be a lot of fun to do.
I'd love to see one year, and I know that, rights and stuff like that are involved, but it's a new age of Fright Fest, so you never know. But I would love to see them incorporate a devilish, terrifying side of the DC characters. And I'm not talking about like what they currently have in DC. I'm talking about like torn up
Oh,
Batman
like a
or like a really spooky
zombified.
Joker. Yeah, like that would be so freaking cool. Or, like Harley Quinn, but like she's like the leader of the
Cool.
pack, and
Like
she
this
looks
old
even
zombified,
more
like some
terrifying than she already
outbreak
does.
happened in DC and like it didn't just,
Yeah,
attack the heroes, it also attacked the villains and then no fighting. Everybody's just
yeah,
like zombies.
yeah. And I know a lot of people would be like, I mean, kind of against that, or no, I don't think they'd be against it, but just DC Universe area is so such an iconic zone. But I think it'd be so cool to see that. And I mean, we've already seen it with what's it called? The Heroes and Villains Fest.
Yeah.
Like them start to bring kind of original characters based around
Yeah.
the main characters to life. So like they should do
Yeah.
that for
I
Fright
heard
Fest
this
too.
year the DC event's gonna be bigger and stuff. But yeah, DC, that
Yeah.
area is huge. Like
Yeah.
they can even have it where they like make it into two zones or something. Where it's like over by
Yeah,
the Wonder
yeah.
Woman area is where they have like the zombie Justice League and villains and stuff. And then over, where they have their slider show and stuff. And that would still be like the clown area and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you're still gonna get people to walk back there. That's the biggest thing with like the now it's the kind of Wizard of Oz zone. But it's hard to get people to walk back there if you're not giving them a reason
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Like Colossus is back there and stuff like that. But I've always thought they need like a zone, like they need to extend the clowns and stuff a little bit further, like in front of where Lex
Yeah.
Luthor's at. So that way people are going through
That
that
would be
and
cool,
also
like that
kind
whole
of
zone,
merging
yeah.
into Oz.
And it's like people cross it and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, thank God we're out of this zone. Nope, you're in Oz now. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's gonna be a way to get people over there because Oz was so freaking
Yeah,
good
Yeah,
this
it
year.
was.
I mean, the
About it.
monkeys
I
and
was
everything.
so bummed. It's
was
so
awesome.
hard because like I'm on the opposite end of the park and I'm just like, I want to get over there like so bad.
Yeah, let me run over there on my
It's like
freaking
by the
break.
time I get like, I was like maybe on a lunch and I was like, but by the time I get transport, get over there, going to the phone, bye guys,
Yeah,
go back now.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're like, well, that was nice.
But yeah, I heard and like from what I saw in like the pictures and everything and the videos, like it looked like such a fun place. I think if I got to be in a zone for the night, that'd be a fun zone to be.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You could be the dang, I can't think of there's a good witch and the bad witch.
You're talking about Lupe, the
yeah,
Blood
Ruby.
Witch?
Well, you could be the opposite. Like you could wear like I guess maybe the pink or
Well, there's
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
like a
yeah,
darker
there could be
version
some.
of it. Yeah.
like you could totally do like a version of the James Franco Oz because they had the
Yeah.
Good Witch,
Yeah.
or yeah, the Good Nice Witch, and then they had Mila Kunis's character or whatever, and then the other sister and everything and stuff. There's all different witch characters.
There's so
you
much
do.
storytelling there.
Yeah, you could
It'd be
do
cool to
lot.
have like
You
a
could- that'd be
porcelain
cool,
doll like there. That'd be cool. Creepy little porcelain doll.
Oh, that'd be cool too. Yeah. We're freaking
Right?
brainstorming
Like,
for
oh
Fright
my
Fest right now,
God.
so they better be watching this. And you guys better invite Rob to meet you.
For sure. We'll have like especially I remember they did this. I don't know if you guys remember like the old videos back when it was like Heckles and Twitch, like early 2000s, where they had that one girl who was like vlogging and everything and stuff, and they dressed her up. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah. They do they do that similar to
They like dressed her
different
up
events.
and
where
then
they'll,
she
like,
got to be like in a maze
people
and
up
she
there.
was like doing it for a little bit and everything.
Sign me up, Fright Fest.
Behind
Sign me
the
up. I'll do
scenes.
it.
It was like a behind
Yeah.
the scenes
I'll
video.
do
Like,
it.
you guys should totally do that. Oh my gosh.
It's funny because, yeah, Castle Park has asked me to do that, and I think I was so young at the time, so I was just like, I don't know. Like nowadays, like I'm all
Yeah.
game for everything. Like I can talk and talk and talk and talk, you know. But back then I was like, I'm still a little shy
He's a
kiddo.
shy Scott. He's a little shy Scott.
Yeah, now I can just freaking, since I know a lot of people, I just freaking talk and talk and talk. But that would be cool to do. If anywhere I was going to do it, it'd be Fright Fest, since
Yeah.
we know so many of you
Yeah.
guys. So it'd be easy to
Totally.
just like
Oh my
run with
gosh.
anyone, you
Yes.
know?
Reach out. Reach out.
Yeah. Just strap a GoPro to like your
That'd be
head.
so cool. Oh my gosh. And like, I remember I was talking with some of the other like scare actors and stuff, and they're like, we need to bring back the traveling squad and everything and stuff. And like, there's so much stuff that we used to
Mhm.
have, like that we learned. It's like we need to bring that
Right,
back.
yeah. Well, we've talked about it plenty of times. I think we talked about it with Margot a lot, in the sense of like, Fright Fest needs to go, you know, they did this whole extreme thing, but they need to go back to their roots a little bit and kind of relook at the event overall and think of what makes them successful and not what could make them successful. They need to think about what
One of the
makes them
things I'd
successful.
love to see that was like around when I started and everything is they had the clowns, but they had them back when it was like Gotham City before they changed it into DC and everything. It looked more like a set from
Right.
Gotham City,
Mm-hmm.
and the clowns
Yeah.
were all basically escapees from Arkham Asylum. So they had like
Yeah.
the stray jackets
Yeah,
and
that's cool,
everything
yeah.
and stuff and all of that, and it was like more simpler and everything. I feel like there's a lot of elements in that zone now and everything. They're awesome and stuff and cool, but I feel like if we just like maybe one
Yeah.
year just bring it back to its roots and stuff, and just get to experience that,
Yeah, why not?
even if it's one night.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they really need to look back at that.
No, I agree. I think it's a little. I see like the good and it's just different because we've grown. I get like I understand like the simple and kind of basic and go back to what it used to be and kind of see if that works. But also I feel like not just in the DC area, but I feel like throughout the park, the zones and more specifically the characters have like, I want to say, taken over. Like you guys are the I see your cat.
There's Cleo. Really?
Oh my god, my dog's
Oh,
name is
right.
Cleo. That's
yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, whenever I'm sitting in this chair,
They
she's
sh-
like, I have to be on it.
She's like, you're doing something. I got to be on it now. She's famous. But I feel like the characters have kind of almost. You guys are, I think for the lack of not a better word, you guys are legendary in the park. So we go like. I go to the park and I'm looking to see you. I'm looking to see, so I honestly think like going more simpler could be, and back to like, it's, more themed for the zones. But at the same time, like you guys are legends. Like you guys have elevated it so much. No, it's true. Like I can't, it's hard for me. That's why like when I saw, I didn't see you. I saw you, but I didn't know it was you till after at Horror Nights. It's hard for me to be like, oh, you're just like you're this. You're not this person that I've like in my mind. Like, oh, I'm used to seeing you like this. So I guess for maybe the diehards, maybe that's just me. I'm like, oh, it'd be weird to see you guys as not your legendary characters and what you do. So, but I mean, maybe like you said, maybe try it out one year, or try it out a day and see how it goes. But yeah, I like. I've been going so long. I remember how that stuff was, and it was more simpler and just the houses that they had. Like I remember Slaughterhouse,
Warehouse
and
13.
Exactly.
Chupacabra.
So, but yeah, I remember
Chup. We
Chupacabra.
all called it Chup.
I remember Chupacabra. That was I miss Chupacabra.
I remember that.
I really do.
Band
You
in
know what?
disguise.
And that was like my that was like my start of Fright Fest
Oh,
right there too. Was freaking
Yeah,
Chupacabra.
when you walked into like was it the church with the pew area, like there was someone in there who got me. Like they turned around and they got me, so I liked it. But yeah, so I think I'm willing to try new things, but I do enjoy what they have now. But I do think like you and Scott were saying, just little improvements here and there, little tweaks,
Yeah.
and
And I feel, like you were saying earlier, like I feel like maybe like nowadays, because like last year they're like, we're extreme. We had a lot of IP mazes and everything and stuff. And it's like when you think of IP and everything, it's like you kind of think of like, Universal Studios and everything and stuff. It
Yeah.
was cool to see like
Mm-hmm.
Fright Fest's take on it and everything and stuff. And some of them were very successful from what I've heard and everything. Like the Conjuring universe and stuff was really, really good. Saw was really, really good. Sadly, I was like, I didn't hear such good things about like Stranger Things and stuff, and did feel like maybe it was just like they might have taken on more than like than they could
Uh,
like handle, and everything, just so it could be like extreme and stuff and everything. I didn't really get to travel to any of the places like from my zone when I was on my breaks and lunch because I was just like dead and tired and everything. But yeah, like we used to like back in the days, it used to be like these are the scare zones. Yeah, there's like a couple, and then we have like, six mazes or whatever and stuff. It's like, like you can
Mm-hmm.
do a lot with a little.
yeah, this is true. Very true.
Yeah. Rob, do you have any burning questions before I ask these character
Yeah.
questions?
I have the hardest hitting
Yeah.
question
Oh, look at the
that
time.
you're ever
Okay.
going to hear. So, okay, so it's you. You're in the zombie apocalypse.
Okay.
What killer, what horror icon are you taking with you to help you fight off the zombies?
Ooh, what killer icon? Okay. Oh, my mind it went straight to Jason.
It's a good
I
one.
love
It's a good
Jason. I
one.
love
Yeah,
him.
that's
He's
a
silent but
valid
deadly.
one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And he's relentless. He doesn't stop. He gets the job done. He's got his
Yeah,
giant machete. Got the protective
yeah.
face wear so the zombies don't, don't bite
Can't
him
scratch
and
your
stuff.
face.
He's
Yeah,
tall. I
yeah,
mean, since he's already dead, he probably maybe won't get affected by zombie bites. So I mean, if we get swarmed, he can just like hold me up. All of
hoist
them
you
just
up.
like carry me to like a ledge. Be like, here, get up there, and I'll be like, okay. So yeah, that Jason's my
Great answer.
I gotta say I would do
do art.
Art the clown.
Okay.
Just because he's so like he's so
He
fucked
would
up.
make it entertaining.
Like
He would make
why
it
would he
very
be afraid of
entertaining.
zombies? Yeah. Yeah, he's just like, why would he be
He'd
afraid of
have
zombies?
fun with the
He just does
zombies.
all the work. Yeah, exactly. But I want to ask from
Yes.
one of our past guests. Our character question was from, I think this one was from Dietz, who works at Scary Farm. But what keeps you going? Like, why do you do what you do? What's the passion behind it?
I'd have to say just like the community. The community.
Okay.
It's a lot of fun because basically like the way I sell it is basically if somebody's like, "Oh, I'm looking for a job. I need to make some." I'm like, "Fright Fest, like it's the easiest. Like, basically, I get paid to dress up, put
Yeah,
on
you get to
makeup,
have
make
fun.
friends, scare people, and you get paid." But yeah, if I have to say, it's the community because it's like,
Okay.
especially like for me, it's really really cool. Like starting back in 2008 and like seeing how it's like progressed and everything and how like a lot of people have been like coming like staying and like working it every year and stuff and like sometimes they'll work it and then they'll like take a couple of years off and then they come back and it's like oh my gosh like how
Yeah.
have you been like I miss you it's so good to see you and it's like we're all like one happy family and it's cool because
Yeah.
it's basically just like the giant haunt community and everything and stuff. And it's you meet somebody
Yeah.
from like Knox Scary Farm and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm a scary actor." And they're like, "Me too." Oh my gosh! And there's like an instant bond there and stuff. Lifelong friends.
Yeah, and then you start talking like about mutuals and stuff, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you know all
God,
these
yeah.
mutuals that like
It's
you
like,
didn't
oh,
know that
you
they
know
knew.
the Wise brothers? Oh, you know Joey? Oh my gosh! No way! That's so cool.
Yep, that's exactly how it goes.
Everyone,
Oh my
everyone
God,
knows Joey. Joey's
like,
all over the place now.
freaking love it.
He's a
I'm like, how
ball
do you
of
have so
energy.
much
Yeah, he's
energy
awesome.
Oh
and
my
stuff?
God.
I just
He's
don't
awesome.
Yeah, I like literally every
Dude, he
time
terrifies
I see him. I'm just
like-
like, oh my goodness, you. Yeah, I'm like, you have
I
so
did
much
the
freaking
escape
energy.
room. And like I did the
Uh-huh.
non-hands-on, the where they don't touch you or anything. I did that one and like Joey
Right.
worked it and stuff and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
amazing. And then there was like one night where we were like outside of Denny's because it was like late or whatever, like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning. And he's like, "Oh, I got my Zoe outfit in the car." And I'm like, we're like, "What?" We're like, "Yeah, put it on, dude." He puts on the full Zoe costume
Yeah.
and it was so creepy. I knew it was Joey and everything and stuff. And he had his taser, and then he
You're
would
like, all right,
just
take it
like, it
off
was
now.
that switch thing where like he'd get it, and then he would just like look at you and just like legit
Yeah.
stalk you. And you're just like, I knew it was him, but I was like,
Yeah.
get away from me.
Okay.
Like
Like,
outside
not
of the
even with
Denny's and
any
everything.
makeup or anything, but just like his mannerisms and everything.
Yeah.
Stuff like, I love
Yeah,
Joey. We
yeah.
all love Joey.
Yeah, Joey's awesome.
I was gonna say that everyone loves Joey. What's a question that you have for a future actor
Oh, that's so hard.
or a future
All these
guest?
hard questions. I'm trying to think of it. I'm on the spot. Future question. Like, I'll ask the question that my dad always asks me. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in the haunt community?
That works. That's
You know,
that's a
that's
good one.
valid.
That's a good
That's a
one.
valid. We've never had that one, so that's a valid question. But that was
No
I think that
way!
was our
Oh my
longest
Yeah.
podcast
gosh!
yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure. And so they just keep
Because
getting longer and longer
there's
and
a lot
longer.
of good questions and everything, and it's just like a lot of good.
When the
Yeah.
conversation is good, it
Yeah.
just keeps going. You know, that's just how it is.
Ah,
But
thank you guys
Yes.
so
Crystal, we
much.
thank
Thank you
you
so
for
I had
coming
much.
so
on.
much
This was
fun.
a
This made my
great
week.
show.
This has made my week, my month, my year. You
You
texted me.
you made you
I was
made
Yes.
like,
Thank
our
you.
week
Thank
for
you so
sure.
much.
honored. They want to talk to me. Like,
Yeah, I've always wanted. I mean, like I tell multiple guests, like I've always wanted to have, like, now that we have a podcast, I'm like, there's so many people I want to have on. But then we have like you, who like I knew from the beginning. I was like, oh, I want to have Kristol on at some point.
Yeah.
And it's all about timing. You know, it's always about timing for me. It's like, when's the best time to bring this person on?
thank you.
And
I'm
now
very
is the time,
honored.
and I'm glad that we did it. Absolutely. As always, you can follow Crystal's millions of accounts down below in the bio,
I
because
have
she has
too
one for
many. I
every
got too
character.
many.
And then obviously follow myself, Exploring Attractions, and Rob, the Howling Hour. But that has been your recent Haunt Talk episode. We will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.